Tonight on a very best. Uh, y'all know who it is. Let's go ahead and bring him on. The bulldozer, Matt Tremont.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Currently at the H2O Wrestling Center. If you hear anything in the background, the kids are out in the ring training right now, and I'm in the office getting some work done. But glad to finally be on here with you guys.
Oh, we greatly appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Nah, not a problem.
So I want to start off with your theme music.
Yeah.
What made you go with that song with Journey?
The Separate Ways song, I believe, to the best of my recollection, going into the Tangled Web match that I had against Devin Moore at CZW in October of 2014, I believe. I was teasing, first of a few times, teasing retirement and teasing going my separate ways, at least just from CZW. So I thought the Separate Ways Journey song fit what I was trying to do, online via social media, and used the song that night. And obviously didn't retire, and stayed. And then that's when we first started to tease towards me and Nick to finally work for the first time. That didn't happen at CZW, of course. It happened at GCW. But that was what. So it was. I only had intents and purposes to use that song just for that match. But everyone seemed to like it, and just kind of stuck, and been using Separate Ways for the last 6-7 years, and I the fans really dig it and they get behind it. I think few people don't like the song, but I think the general consensus amongst everybody is they once they hear that 80s synthesizer, they dig what's going on. So, man, been stuck with it since. So, and sometimes if I don't use it, I think people they've gotten mad at times over the years. So I've done my best to stick with the song, and I'm not a big Journey fan, but I like that one song. So yeah, it's that'll be synonymous with my career, I think.
Oh, it would be like Necro Butchers whenever he would come out with his theme song. That's how it makes me feel. Like it's like you made it something now.
Awesome.
Like it has a purpose in wrestling. Is that where you got the Separate Ways tour for your retirement? Is that where you got the name for it?
Yes, 100%. I thought that was just a perfect thing to call it, label it, and promote it, market it. So it all just worked.
Okay. What made you come to the decision to retire at this time?
Oh man, quite a few things. It's been on my mind for off and on for several years. I'd say the last year or so. Off and on would think about it and contemplate, and but at the end of the day, I wasn't in a position to do so. Because fortunately enough, since the end of 2014, I have not had a job outside of pro wrestling. I have been able to sustain and make a decent living on the independents, working and promoting and so on and so forth, but was never in a position to, if I didn't wrestle, to still, take care of the family and pay the bills. So I wanted to, plant different seeds over the years and put myself in a position where, okay, if I don't wrestle, whether it was part-time or full-time, could I still take care of the family and take care of the bills? So in the last couple of years, I had my store and building up H2O. And now H2O is, after 4 years of building the company, is now at the point where, the company's making money, the school is making money, and overall I can just, grind every day and promote and run H2O and run the H2O Wrestling Academy. and it's enough to sustain and pay the bills and take care of the wife and make sure the dog's got food in his bowl. So mainly that was the biggest reason, to make sure first I was in a position financially to be able to do it. If I wasn't, if H2O wasn't, doing as good as it's doing right now, I wouldn't be retiring. I'd still be wrestling as often as I could so I could take care of the family. But, thankfully I'm in that position because, the fans have been supporting H2O, and now we're in that position to do so. So that was the number one thing, to get to that point where I didn't have to be, a full-time in-ring performer to take care of the bills and day-to-day responsibilities. And then there's the rest of the checklist to go down. One was physically, but as of right now, man, I'm actually, probably feeling the best I've had in a couple of years, training the kids at the school and just keeping busy, and coming off the pandemic, those first couple months just sitting on my butt, not doing anything, but getting back, it sucked.
Yeah, it really fucking sucked. I hated that shit.
But
no fucking wrestling, like none. I was fuck.
But getting back into the grind of things, I just keep myself busy, and man, I actually feel great physically. So that's probably on the bottom of the list of reasons why. Another would definitely be, Danny Havoc passing away. Grant was a good friend of mine, and I think for a lot of us in at least the deathmatch community, we're all affected by it in different ways. And it's just, and outside the ring, there was no one I was closer to that I became a friend with outside of the ring more than Danny Havoc. So not having him here, was a big part of my life that's not there anymore.
No.
And then just and being here for being home more, being with the wife, and and being able to do more things. And after over the business has been a part of half of my life. I'm only 32 years old. Well, something I'm older, but I've been doing this since I was 15 when I started training and made my debut. This is all I've known, and fortunately, I accomplished more than I ever desired, and motivation wise to go out there and keep doing it, didn't really have, much left, to really, sink my teeth into, and, have as a driving force to keep pushing, champions and championships and tournaments and traveling the world and working with your peers and idols you grow up watching. Man, I scratched so much stuff off that list. It's still crazy to think about to this day. So I guess it's just a lot of that overall, would be, reasons why I came to that decision. And I looked at the last extravaganza weekend, is all in tribute to Danny Havoc, creating this new Danny Havoc Hardcore Championship title, and just paying homage to him, tribute to him, one of the founding fathers of H2O. And, I looked at it overall as, if I'm going to go out, I want to go out on a big stage. And, I want to do it here in my house at home at H2O, because I know it'll help get more eyes on H2O and the company and just help us grow, right now overall. So I thought it was the perfect show and weekend to do it on, as we pay tribute to Danny Havoc. And so I will walk down the aisle one last time on October 30th, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we are definitely going to be talking about that very soon here too. You put deathmatch wrestling on your back, as you said, and carried it to a better place. Do you feel that deathmatch wrestling is finally at the point where you can walk away and it'll be okay? Do you feel like you accomplished that goal?
Man, it was when I finally got the opportunity after, being in the business a few years already, and, got my first hardcore match, which led to my first death match, which led to getting a job at CZW. And all that was because of Danny Havoc. And, then and at the time the genre, while still popular, didn't have that name value that it was coming off of, the previous earlier in the decade or the previous decade. And, it was one of those right place, right time, and, take the opportunity, take the bull by the horns and see what you can do. And yeah, I was my mindset to put a genre on my back or anything like that. No, but it's just kind of how it happened. And, just being so passionate about deathmatch wrestling, I knew at that time, especially once the ball got rolling, I knew this is, generate that buzz and interest again. And things went well for, many years. And now we are where we are now. And, stepping away from the genre and the style that gave me so much, man, there's so many good guys now, looking back on it when there was only, a handful at that time when I, first started to make a name for myself. The quality of talent that there is now on a consistent basis for so many great promotions, I feel is going to be in good hands. You got your veterans, and you got a lot of new guys coming up the pike. And, as long as everybody can continue to, at the end of the day, I know it's a crazy genre and style, but take care of each other and tell a good story and continue to build and grow, what deathmatch wrestling is, because it's something special and it means so much to so many different people. So if if they can all stay together, which I think it will, because there's, like I said, there's so many good talented people doing it right now, and hopefully they're teaching the guys coming up the right way. So the next generation are being taught the right way as well, because, that's how the business evolves and should be done. You give back and pass that knowledge down. And yeah, I think right now it's definitely in good hands, and hopefully we'll continue to prosper into the future.
Okay. We actually have a trailer for the last event, the last extravaganza, and we're gonna play it, and then we're gonna come right back.
Awesome.
So, okay. Let's see. The separate ways tour matches. Your last match ever will be with RSP. Why did you choose him to be your final match?
I thought many reasons again, especially my last match at GCW and then my last match here at H2O. Those two men in particular with Alex and Ricky Shane Page, stylistically wise, too, how they work, and very similar to to Danny Havoc and how he performed in the ring. And then personally, just two good people that I've known, personally and professionally, have worked with many of times. And they were two people I had some, great matches with over the years, and that I wanted to have, one more match with, which with each of them. And having Ricky as the last guy, I looked at Ricky probably about a month before, probably about a month ago, probably a little more than a month ago. I watched back Ricky and I in the finals of Tournament of Death a few years back, and watching that just kind of started to turn the wheels and get everything in motion once I really started to come to the point where I think I'm going to retire, and who is going to be that last guy with me in that last dance. And I just thought Ricky was the perfect person to do it with. Again, personally, professionally, he's one of the best in the ring doing it today. His work in the last year and a half plus has been tremendous. As a heel and with his stable that they've built, they're doing great work. I've always enjoyed his work, and I know the match that we had at TOD, that year was both special for both of us for many different reasons, and I just felt inside that he was the right guy, to do write this last chapter with. So we'll write it in blood on October 30th with he and I, and hey, man, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think there was nobody else, if obviously aside from Alex, if I had to flip flop, the matches, but it was either going to be Alex Colon or Ricky Shane Page, and RSP's the one, and I'm looking forward to it.
So you at WrestleMania 3, you named that there was going to be a no rope barbed wire. You named off a bunch of stipulations for it.
Yeah, I did. I got a little excited, but I went back and watched the footage just to make sure what I did say, because I didn't want to put anything out that we weren't going to do. So just to reiterate, we're going to do barbed wire ropes. If we just did a no rope barbed wire 2 shows ago at Back in the Saddle with myself and Mouse. So I didn't want to do another no rope barbed wire, but the gimmick and stipulation itself from me and RSP will be barbed wire ropes, light tubes, bed of nails, and God knows what else. But all the gimmicks itself, are a little throwback and have story to matches that we each had individually against Danny Havoc over the years and against each other. So you'll see little elements of all those matches we had, with each other. But yeah, barbed wire ropes, probably a shitload of light tubes, beds of nails, and God knows what else.
Okay. Sam, he wants to say you've had several great matches. Do you have a personal favorite though?
I couldn't pick just one. I just it'd be too hard. Off the top of my head, myself and G Raver at the, I think they said it couldn't be done again, GCW show in Atlantic City a year or so ago, is one of my, I would say, top 3 matches in my career. Just the story told and just the environment, atmosphere, couldn't put that up there with, if someone asked me, hey, show me a Matt Tremont match, I could give them, me versus G Raver from GCW. Man, again, me and Ricky, the TOD final a few years ago. And I'd probably, just in one of the biggest matches, in my career overall, will always be Cage of Death 14, me and DJ inside the Cage of Death. So I definitely, that's probably like there are 3 of probably what's in a top 5 or top 10. Nailing down one, it would be extremely hard. But yeah, so there's a few off the top of my head.
I like this question, Garrett. Let's see. Best advice for deathmatch workers coming into the business. Best advice for new promoters coming into the industry.
Okay. Best advice for deathmatch workers coming in the business. Man, please, if you're going to step into this style or genre, whatever you want to call it, don't just come in here to do it to get a quick pop and get yourself over, because the work you're doing outside of the genre isn't. And just to step your toes in, just to, I guess for the clout, as the kids say nowadays. If you want to do this and you're coming into this genre and style, You give it all, give it 110%, but have a good foundation of basic fundamentals underneath you, and be a good worker all around, and then be a good professional wrestler that does death matches. Don't just be a death match wrestler. Be a well-rounded worker and be able to step into this, whether full time, and give it your all, and know it's not just the high spots and the crazy big spots. Sometimes go in there and tell a story and implement the violence into your story. That's what I learned. Once I got into it and improved and got better, I got better working guys that were better than me. When I was green, when I first got into deathmatch wrestling, I thought it was, smash and just hit each other with shit. That's bad hardcore wrestling. When I worked with Masada and Danny Havoc and Drake Younger, and list goes on, those were great professional wrestlers that did deathmatch wrestling and did it the right way and told a story and implemented the violence into their story. So just come in here and have a respect for it, put the work in, don't be a mark for yourself. And there's a long list of guys that paved the way, that put their bodies on the line and sacrificed a lot for this style of this business. So in order to continue that, do what they did. And not to sound like an old school veteran or anything like that, but man, telling stories and selling and, again, building everything up. You can build a card and you can build a match. You don't just got to go in there and rely on the big high spot or the big bump, because you can only do those so often, and that big bump card's going to fill up. But future looks bright for a lot of people. And what was the second question?
It was what do you have any advice about the promoters getting into the industry?
I think overall, as far as being a promoter, the biggest thing you have is the rapport that you have with the men and women in your locker room. Being honest in a sometimes dishonest business, just being upfront, being cordial, and how you're the representation of your entire company, brand, whatever you're doing. And without your locker room and who you have no wrestling promotion. Without those soldiers going out there and putting forth, they're painting the picture of your vision. So you got to take care of the boys, take care of the girls, be honest, do good business, in and outside of the ring. I think that's to me, that's the biggest thing, just honesty and just doing good business, and, don't do no carny bullshit, and, take care of each other, whether you've been in the ring physically or not. At the end of the day, especially deathmatch wrestling, what these guys are putting themselves through physically, mentally, over time, man, it takes a toll. So appreciate your locker room, be honest with your locker room, and take care of the boys, man. It's the number one thing.
You said mentally, like some people that do the whole, they go in there and just beat each other with shit. It doesn't take it's just, there's nothing, they're not telling a story like you said. But what kind of mental abuse do you take in actually telling the story and adding the violence into all the match, like mentally? We can see it physically on the body, but mentally we never really hear about it that much.
And there's probably many reasons why, the men or women that step into this game, this style, genre, whatever you want to call it. I'll say it a million times. And you got to be a real special person to do it. Have a couple screws loose, no fear. It takes a lot to do what we do, and that's why it's so special. And that's why there's only a handful of the craft that truly are masters of the craft and can deal and cope with what it does to you, what the physical toll on you, and that mental toll. I think that mental toll, at least for me, is the consumption of years and years and years of doing it and looking back and sitting back Because at the end of the day, like, some kids, they want to play baseball or football, and I'm watching Abdul the Butcher at 13, and I'm like, I want to have a fucked up forehead like him. So it's a crazy world, and the ones that get into it know what they're getting themselves into, and as did I. But it does take a mental toll, and I think just as far as the physicality and purpose. I think a lot of times in pro wrestling, man, you got to have purpose. And if you're just doing so much violence for the sake of violence over time, is there a payoff for you personally, individually? Not a payoff money or payoff to a build to an angle. You personally, all this violence for all these years, what purpose are you getting out of it? And that's, I guess, the mental toll that could take on you over time. And it was, definitely a reflection on my part. And another reason, reasoning into, retirement, I accomplished so much and did everything and put people over and did good business. And now I'm at the point where, what purpose was behind the booking or the match? Am I just going out there to do it just to do it? And, again, the physical and mental toll, I don't want to come out of it, with nothing, personally and professionally. You build up an angle for a year and you get to the blow off, and you have the payoff. And, after the match, business wise, good payday at the end of the day, and can take care of the family. And that's going to lead to something else and something else. And, you feel good and you have purpose and motivation to, use that to continue to move forward. And to the point, and this is just, for me, for example, nothing, what's next? Once you win win titles and tournaments and have the opportunity to travel and work with so many great people, after you do it, what is next? And at least for me, in my mind, what was next? And I feel like I did everything that I wanted to do and that I could have done and that there is to do, in this style. And that's, I guess, maybe that's at least the mental and emotional factor that it was for myself. If all that makes sense.
It does to me. Let's see, David, he wants to know, what's your favorite spot and what is your least favorite spot?
Favorite spot. I was just talking about it the other day, so it's fresh in my mind. Favorite spot, obviously, it comes off like a bad spot, but it just helped the match even more and helped the story. Myself and Danny Havoc, Cage of Death 13, Bed of Nails, Thumbtack Pit, and I think I took a back body drop or something, and my foot got stuck in the Bed of Nails, and we didn't know that was going to happen, and it just enhanced the story, and wound up being a cool spot that people remember. And least favorite, probably the unexpected chair shot to the back from Spider at Carnage Cup years ago.
Was that with the push pins?
Push pins, yeah. Push pins thumbtacks are one thing. Push pins are another. It wasn't pleasant, and we still had a lot more to go in that match, and I knew I couldn't take any bumps, especially the big bump later in that match with all these damn push pins in my back. So that would probably, again, fresh on my mind. Just saw it recently shared. Would be the push pin spot. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Going back to the last extravaganza, weekend 2. Let's see. You're going to crown the first ever Danny Havoc Hardcore Champion.
Yeah.
Can you done dropped? We know Joker's in it.
Yes.
And we know that Vortex is in it now. Is there anybody else that you could tell us that's going to be on it?
Sure, I can drop the third name, and then I'll put it up after we get after we get done, I think we'll make entrant number 3 an in-house guy, a former H2O champion, a former H2O King of the No Ring tournament winner. So the third entrant in the Danny Havoc Hardcore title tournament is the heart and soul of H2O, and that's Low Life Louis Ramos.
This is shaping up to be a hell of a tournament already. I'm looking forward to this tournament. Your final match in GCW will be with Alex Colon, right?
Yes.
Why did you want it in GCW?
Yeah, I knew, that my last match would be here at H2O at home, and with RSP, and if the other definite person I wanted to work with on my way out was with Alex. And, once I reached out to the powers that be at GCW, and, he mentioned, talked about Alex, and, we were able to make it happen. So, like I said, there was 2 people, more than anybody that I wanted to work on my way out, and I was with RSP and I was with Alex. And then, for them to put us on the stage that is, Joey Janela's Spring Break 4, and on that show is awesome, so to, go out with GCW on a big platform and big show like that, and working Alex, who is, in my eyes, probably the best deathmatch performer going today, right there with RSP and a handful of others. So yeah, to work in Alex, GCW, Spring Break, couldn't have worked out any better. Very, very, very excited. He's one of the best, and he put the work in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Too much exciting stuff coming up.
We got a question from Sam. I was actually about to ask you about this too. You're going up against John Wayne Murdoch in your final IWA match.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the Duke?
Man, John Wayne Murdoch, I'm glad he's getting a lot of love right now, and he's been getting love for a long time. I guess just at least in the Northeast, he's been getting it now. Man, he's Murdoch's one of the best. All my favorite matches that I've had at IWA over the years have been with Murdoch, and I think he would attest to it as well. Every time that we've worked, it's all, I'm very old school anymore, and I just go out there and call it in the ring. And many a times, even the crazy death matches that we've had, you can go out there and tell a good story and do it on the fly. I always enjoy working with them. And when when that was presented to me and who I'd be and working with him, it was a no-brainer. And he was, and he's right there with Alex and RSP as another guy I wanted to work with and go work with on my way out. And again, one of the best. He's top 5, one of the best deathmatch guys going today, and just overall workers. He's a good worker. He knows what he's doing when he's going in the ring. Some of my favorite matches, just in IWA and overall in my career, have been with Murdoch, and very happy for all the buzz and success that he's currently having. He's the master of the Canadian Destroyer, man.
Why do you think it took him so long to blow up on the deathmatch scene?
I think I think Murdoch's been relevant and doing this thing for quite some time. I think it was just a Northeast promotion giving him that platform with a little more eyes on it, and again, it's sometimes it really is right place, right time. And just, a little bit of luck and, talent, throw that all together, and things just happen sometimes. And everything's, I get right place, right time for him right now. And he's killing it. And deathmatch wrestling is as popular as it's ever been. So yeah, all those all those different spices and formulas thrown into that bowl, and now it's combusting, and it's nothing but good for Murdoch. So happy for him.
Fantastic. Let's see. Joe, he says thoughts on working with Dysfunction and ICW Milwaukee. He said this was a good friend of Danny as well.
Yes, man, this always been a good dude. We brought him in for I believe the first deathmatch extravaganza that we did and put together 2 years ago. I think he worked Alex, and they killed it. And this brought me out last year for Insane 8. That was my first time working in Wisconsin. First time, I believe, to the best of my recollection, for ICW. Had a great time. They have an awesome, intimate atmosphere with the venue that they have. And I had a lot of fun in Insane 8 last year. ICW is doing good things. This has always been a good dude, so nothing but good things to say.
Who do you think the future of deathmatch wrestling is right now? They have a lot. I have a personal favorite, and Alex Ocean. I see him doing some amazing things in the future.
There's so many good people right now. I don't think it's just one person. I haven't seen too much of Alex Ocean's work. First time I saw him live was the July ICW show I was at, and took a big bump off of a ladder, I think off of a truck or something like that, or a trailer. So obviously the guy's fearless. Just hearsay of the stuff that he's done down in, I think, No Peace in Florida. And you got Alex and Akira, and then you still got all your mainstay guys too that have been around for some time, getting a lot more buzz as well. Diamond Cutter's great, and all these guys. Couldn't pinpoint just one person. Overall right now, the future of deathmatch wrestling is currently the present, and it's going to be that way for a long time, I think.
I like that answer. I like that. Let's see, Mason, thoughts on what CZW is going through. Will it make it? I know you had so much of your career there.
I did. We'll always have a soft spot, in the heart for Combat Zone Wrestling. That was my ECW growing up. That was the promotion I wanted to be at, and that Danny Havoc got my job for me there after we worked at Carnage Cup many years ago, and put in a good word and spoke up for me, as did others. That's where I wanted to be. That, like I said, that was my ECW. That's where I wanted to be. That was my WWE. That was WrestleMania for me, whatever. I wanted to be in CZW and wrestle inside Cage of Death and work Tournament of Death. And so, yeah, like I said, soft spot. Promotions are going to have ups and downs. I don't know the future of CZW overall. I haven't spoken to the powers that be there in some time. And do I want another promotion to strive, thrive, and survive, so the boys and girls in the business have another platform and to get opportunity to get eyes on them and get a payday? Yes, but I don't know the ins and outs of CZW. I left once, and then I came back and had no issues the last year I was there in 2019. And then, 2020 started off, and then pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So, honestly, who knows? I think at the end of the day, the face of the company is, as far as DJ goes, I think he knows himself that, you can only do and say so much for so long before people will leave or not support anymore, or this, that, and the third. So it's just going to come to the point where, either sell the promotion or do something, because I think he would say this himself. He's the detriment behind the company to prosper. And I know he probably wants it to prosper and do good, but it's going to be tough if, that name is still behind it. And I'm not trying to speak ill of DJ, because at the end of the day, has he probably done and said some outlandish or dumb things over the years? I think he would attest to it and say that himself. And, that's uncalled for and, not cool. And then the other side of it, the dream job that I wanted, he gave me many opportunities over the years, and I, will always be appreciative of that, because without the platform that I got at CZW, I would not be sitting here right now talking to you in my own building, running my own promotion. Because for so many years at that company, whether it was good times or bad times, man, I always felt, like I wanted to put the company on my back and represent CZW well, and did all I could at times, again, through good and bad. I did what I could. I did my best. And at the end of the day, I couldn't be the savior or anything like that. But, hopefully CZW runs again. But I think it would take a lot of things behind the scenes, to prosper for the future. Because, again, you got to be going back to being a promoter and coming in the business. You got to be honest with the boys, and you got to be honest with your fans. And if you don't have that, you have no business. So,
Rich wants to know, will you be at ICW No Holds Barred Volume 7?
When is that?
I do not know.
It's coming up in October, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I want to say it's October.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, never know. Never know.
Sean wants to let you know that you are the man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Let's see. Okay. I got one for you. Student versus teacher. Why did you choose Reed Walker as an opponent on your tour?
Aside from, getting the chance to work Alex and Murdoch and RSP, my favorite part of this going into it was having the chance to work as many of my students at the H2O Academy that are, working matches in that right now. Reed Walker, for instance, is one of the newer students to H2O. He's only been training. He's out in the ring right now training. He's been here about 3 months. Kid reminds me of Kerry Von Erich. And, in just 3 months, he's ready. So, and then the students of H2O, the wife and I don't have any kids of our own. These are my kids. And, I live vicariously through them now, especially once I retire, and I get the same gratification after having a good match, opposed to now seeing these guys and these young kids train and debut and progress and do good things here and elsewhere in the business. And he's a good kid. I know he's going to be a hell of a performer, and I wanted a chance to work with him on the way out. So, and it was time, and just happened to be, he's ready to debut. So I'm like, kid, you're going to debut on October 3rd, and you're going to work me. So he's looking forward. I'm looking forward. I've worked a couple of my kids so far, Declan Grant, and just this past Monday worked Austin Luke. And they killed it. We have 36 students enrolled at the H2O school, and all of them have exceeded expectations and are just doing tremendous, right now. And they're blowing my mind. I mean, no one's been here. The school's only been open a little over 2 years, and for what they're doing in the ring in that time frame, it is crazy. And Reed Walker is going to be special, and I think he's going to have a good career as long as he, makes those sacrifices and puts in the work. I think he's going to do big things.
What if one of your students came up and told you that they wanted to do death matches? Would you start teaching them, training them towards that too?
There's probably 3 or 4 of our students here, that came to this school just because, my name was behind the H2O name, and they were a fan of me in death matches. And I told them that that's all cool, good and gravy, but and we'll get to that point. But they know they're gonna have a solid foundation and learn the fundamentals and become a good worker first before we get to that. Once we get to that time, if they want to dabble in some death matches or hardcore, a couple kids have so far. They've done a little hardcore. And there's probably one or two that have expressed doing death matches. They're almost there, and there's you can only teach so much, but you don't really know until you get in there and do it. So I think once they get the opportunity to get in there and do it, they'll know. And but they will definitely have the chance to do it, and I look forward to them getting those opportunities and being able to step into that genre. One of them's G.G. Everson. He looks just like me. We call him Mini Bulldozer here at the school. It's crazy to say. He was not to go off on another story, but G.G. He messaged me when he was 16 years old. I was CZW champ. I didn't have a wrestling school or anything. I didn't even train my first student, Sean, yet. And he, in this message, he said, one day, if you ever open a wrestling school, I will be there. And 3 years later, when we opened H2O, the school, the first day, he was one of the first 4 kids here, and he's one of them that's excelling now and doing big things. So just crazy to see. The school and the students are my life, and they're doing so good right now. It blows my mind here, and some are starting to branch out and do some other things elsewhere. So they're just making me proud, making H2O proud, and I think once a lot of people get to see what these kids are doing, the future of not only H2O but of all of independent pro wrestling. You're going to see a lot of H2O kids out there doing their thing, and that's what keeps me going and motivated now.
Okay. Who's a couple standouts, that you think will be making some noise in wrestling in the coming years?
Oh man, I hate to pick just a couple, but because they're all doing so good, but. Man, G.G. Everson is one. Dylan McKay is another. He got to work his first show outside of H2O about a month or so ago at GCW, and he did great. Reed Walker, Austin Luke, Marcus Mathers. I can name off everybody. They're like, that's how good they're all doing. Chris Bradley, Christian Ross, Nothing Face. Leroy Robinson, Nicholas Grand. I got so many kids doing so many good things. Big Red Ryan Redfield. We have our bi-weekly student shows every 2 weeks, every other Monday.
Undiscovered, right?
Yes, Undiscovered. And for $5, you get to see these kids progress, from their humble beginnings, and to see where they were at Undiscovered 1 and now we're at 33 blows my mind. And, they've built their own brand and audience. We had almost, 75 people here on a Monday night to see a student showcase event. And that's just a testament to their hard work and the fans wanting to see, them mixed in with a few vets that'll come out and work with them on a Monday night. So yeah, man, the future of the company, and they pump the blood in H2O, and that is the as I write online, the rising stars of the H2O Wrestling Academy.
Let's see, Joey P. Woods. He wants to know your thoughts on Cody never answering the challenge.
Is what it is. When I did it, when I called out Onita and all that happened, that was one thing that meant a lot to me, and making the challenge to Cody, was something I wanted to do. going back to, what else is there to do? And one thing I wanted to do was do something, on television, on a national stage. So yeah, it didn't happen. I'm not losing no sleep over it. I accomplished a lot, and like I said, more than I ever desired. So am I losing sleep at the end of the night that I didn't get to work with Cody? I'm not. But all good. No big deal.
Did AEW ever call you or get in contact with you or
No
anything?
sir. No sir.
Okay. Let's say I'm a wrestler and I want to get trained at H2O.
Mhm.
How do I go about doing that?
Whether you're local or you live out of state, you just got to shoot me an email at Tremont, Tremont, 2K11 at gmail.com. And then just shoot me an email and I'll give you the rundown of coming in, scheduling a tryout. The tryout's free. The tryout consists of just cardio and calisthenics. And there's no pass or fail in the tryout. It's just to see you push yourself and, beyond your usual physical or, mental capabilities to see how bad you want to get in the ring. And if you get through the tryout, we usually bring you in the ring just to do a couple basic rolls so we can at least see that you can do that physically, and we can work with you and go with you from there. And then if you decide to come back the next day or the week after, we'll sit down, sign a waiver and get you started. I would say we're probably one of the cheapest schools in the area, and I did that for many reasons because this wasn't ever a money grab. And I charge $100 a month. That's it, $2,800 overall for tuition, and no big money down, no big lump sum of money down. It's $100, and it's just because we wanted to do things the right way and not charge an arm and a leg. And we've only had a couple people drop off since we've opened the school, and we've kids that have been with us since day one are still here rocking and rolling. So, but yeah, if you want to come on down to school, come on down, try out. And as I give the shame spiel to the the kids that come here and try out every time, and it's come here, it's a safe place. I don't tolerate no bullshit. Come here, work hard, take pride in what you're doing, and treat everybody how you want to be treated. And that's all I ever ask. And pay your tuition on time, so we can pay the bills.
Very good. Kevin, he wants to know, what will you miss the most?
I would definitely, I guess maybe as corny as it may sound, that roar of the crowd, only not as often as I used to, get goosebumps. But when Separays would hit and I'd make my way down the aisle, hearing the roar of the crowd, or hear them go, huh? As simple and dumb as huh is, it worked over all these years. And to hear the crowd do that and chant your name and all that stuff, it's a satisfying feeling knowing people are behind you, supporting you, and doing what you do. I will definitely miss that. So I've been, these last 10 matches, I got 7 more, trying to take all those moments in, so because when it's done, it's done.
Let's see. Matt, if you had to pick your favorite match out of the year of 2015, what is it? And that comes from Louis Ramon.
Oh, Junior, little Louis.
Yes.
Yes. He probably knowing Junior, he probably wants to say a match that I probably had with his dad, but I can't remember.
He gave a specific a year too.
Yeah, it's tough. I know I've worked his dad many times. I'm pretty sure we probably worked in 2015, but I can't remember exactly the match or moment. But 2015 probably just match, and this would probably be at a left field. the match that I had before I won the CZW title from Black G's, I wrestled. I worked Pepper Parks in a street fight, and it is a match that doesn't get enough love because Pepper Parks is awesome, awesome old school veteran worker, and we had a great match. And then that segued into me working Black G's and eventually winning the title that night at the August Retribution show, August 9th or 10th, 2015. So, yeah, I think that would probably be one favorite match that year. That's popping in my head at the moment. Me and Pepper Parks street fight at CZW that year.
Okay. Joel, he wants to let you know that you're an absolute legend. Thank you, Bulldozer, for all the memories.
I appreciate it, Joel. Thank you, man. Let's
see. Let's go back to CZW. Are you upset you don't get a last match there?
Yeah, I definitely if CZW was up and running right now, to have one more match there would definitely be something I definitely would have wanted to do for sure.
Who would you want to go against?
Oh man, I think knowing that a lot of guys aren't there anymore that I would have wanted to work. I probably would have picked one of the younger guys there or a student coming up to give them a big opportunity, to work me and get the rub and to be able to make a name for themselves. So I'd probably look up and down the roster and see what, young kid coming up, in the company, that would be, deserving to do that. So yeah, I'd probably pick one of the young guns.
Okay. Let's see. Nick Gage. You looked up to Nick Gage. You watched him in TOD from the crowd, right?
Yeah, man, many years. Yeah.
That you
yeah.
Want to do it even more?
My first CZW show was No Excuses, August 2002 at the Arena in Philly. Nick and Nate were tagging against the Rachis, Adam Flash and Doomsday Danny Rose. That was my first time seeing Nick Gage live. I'm 12, 13 at the time, something like that. It was always my favorite wrestler at CZW, aside from Eddie Kingston. Those were always my two favorite guys on the independent scene. And, went to CZW religiously every month for a long time. Nick was always one of my favorite guys, favorite performers. And then being able to, get into the business and work with them, crazy how things work out. But one of the best of all time, a good dude. And the three matches that we had at GCW are three of my favorite of all time. And, were that trilogy of matches, were very special. And at least for myself, there was a reason why there was never another one-on-one. And this is at least to me, those three matches were so good. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up my ass, but those three matches with Nick were so good and told such a story. All three of them. I didn't want to. Not that the fourth match, I think the fourth match would be good, or if we ever worked one-on-one again, it would probably be a good match. But they just meant so much to myself, and the story and the build and the time, the atmosphere, everything, just I don't think could be duplicated again. And that's why we never, because we approached many times to do another match one-on-one at several other promotions over the years since the last one in December 2017. But, I always kind of kiboshed it because those three meant so much and were special, and I just wanted to keep them that way. We've done, obviously we've tagged. We've been in 3-ways and 4-ways matches together, but never a one-on-one. So there will only ever be three Tremont versus Gage matches, and it'll stay that way.
Okay. You actually answered my next question was going to be, would you have another match? Well, another match if he wasn't injured, and you actually answered the next question I was going to ask about the trilogy matches. That you would consider that your best work, right?
I would, I guess, is not even just for violence sake, just because of a story that we built, and not even that a promotion built. Like, people knew my story coming up in the business, being a fan of Nick, and we created a story on our own, Nick going away and then coming back, and then we finally meeting in the finals of a tournament, and then in the finals of another tournament, and then the impromptu 3 stages of hell that we did. It was just very proud of it, and it's definitely up there, if not the best stuff that I've done. And it takes 2 to tango and tell a story. So to be able to do that with Nick, and that's why he's so good. And that's why I mean, so much to myself. But yeah, man, those were fun times.
Let's see, Jason. He says, I remember seeing Matt at ringside as a youngster back in the day. It went away. Mike, can you bring that last one back? There it is. Thank you. He's a CEO now, COE, a long way from in the business.
Jason, it's Hellaware, right? Hellaware, yeah, always been a good dude. And the handful of times we've met, man. So I appreciate the kind words, man. Thank
you. We actually did get to see you, grow from whenever you first started, which was what? When did you start wrestling?
My debut match was January 27th, 2007.
Okay. And when did you start doing your death matches?
Let's see. My first death match was with Danny Havoc at the Carnage Cup. That was 2011, I believe, 2010, 2011. And then, it was all from the races for there. So, the first couple of years was just spinning my wheels, working local indie companies in Jersey, Delaware, and in PA. And then, man, what was the promotion? It was IWA or NWA Vintage Pro. Atticus Reigns ran, and he booked me again. I worked Wax, and it was just a hardcore match. And Brett Lauderdale was the referee, and that was my first real big important match and hardcore match in front of a crowd. And I guess they saw some kind of potential, and they, Lauderdale and others, they're like, hey, Carnage Cup's the next week. You want to hop in the van and go 18 hours down to Alabama? And I did, and worked Danny Havoc in the first round of that Carnage Cup, and the rest is history after that.
Let's see. So it's the Carnage Cup. Carnage Cup that's pretty rough for your first full-blown death match. Corner Cubs go hard. They really do.
I remember getting to the building and just walking around. It was at an armory in Coleman, Alabama. And in the locker room, all the tables were set up. And in the arena part, all the gimmicks, all light tubes, barbed wire, all the stuff that they're using on the show that night. And that was my first time seeing all that up close, and that amount of violence and weapons, and it was overwhelming at first, but man, wouldn't change a thing.
William wants any good stories of wrestling school tryouts / washouts failed miserably.
Up until the last 2 tryouts that we've had within the last couple weeks have been the first 2 tryouts. To the best of my recollection, since the school's been open a little over 2 years now, have been the first 2 tryouts where they could not complete it. They tapped out and left. and I don't know if we'll ever hear from them again. um, you know, it'll be myself or one of the students that have been here run the tryout, and just to be there to push them and motivate them, and they just didn't have physically, I guess, what it took to get through it. And it was right in the beginning. We start out with bear crawls. You're on all fours and you're crawling a good distance back and forth, 10 times, 3 sets of those. And yeah, it just didn't work out for them. So, hopefully they still love wrestling though. But yeah, other than that, nothing. Everyone that's can't come here, they're here now, working hard and doing their thing.
Fantastic. Do you still operate the double stomp video?
Yeah. It's myself and Mr. Jimmy Chondo Lion. He's been, filming for maybe 3, 4, 5 years now. We've been, we started just doing like interviews, and then we started filming some other promotions, and then obviously H2O stuff. Now it's just pretty much H2O, and he'll do his own side projects. But yeah, double stomp video is still out there. It was me and my, at the time, I think 15-year-old nephew Noah that started double stomp video. He made the logo and everything. And he's doing his thing now. But yeah, the double stomp's still doing his thing. When IWTV or Smart Mark isn't here, when we're streaming live, it's our in-house crew that is double stomp video. Yes.
Okay. And you still got the Bulldozers collectibles too, right?
I closed the store. Let's see, December 2018.
Okay.
I had the store open for about 3 years. I knew getting into it, it wasn't something I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and that was, sit in a flea market forever.
Right.
But it was something I wanted to do and check off the list of accomplishments, and it was fun. But we was just so busy, couldn't balance being able to still work full time and travel, run the store 4 days a week, and then summer of 2018 we moved inside the the building we're in now for H2O. So I'm like, all right, one of these businesses have to close. All right, Bulldozer Collectibles, you're out of here. So, but it was a lot of fun, running a little retail store, and and that was only possible because my brother-in-law, his business was right next door, Mike's Custom Airbrush, and he's been inside the Berlin Mart for 25 plus years, and he was able to help me have that opportunity to open a store. So shout out to my brother-in-law. He was able to make a lot of that happen. It was fun.
Did he do some of the stuff that airbrush for you on some of your ring attire?
Yes. Yeah. My shorts and all that. Anything airbrush I've had over the years has always been my brother-in-law, Mike Iacona. Mike's Custom Airbrush inside the Berlin Farmers Market in Berlin, New Jersey. Quick plug.
Let's see. Daniel wants to know, do you have a favorite ECW match or storyline?
I like really early ECW, even going back to like Eastern Championship days. Probably the other day I just watched, again, what's fresh on the mind was Sabu's debut, I think, or at least the debut when he worked Taz. This is when 911 was still pushing him out on the stretcher, and he had the Hannibal Lecter mask. Always enjoyed Taz and Sabu. Their whole rivalry, built up throughout the years. Really enjoyed that in ECW. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. The quest to fight Onita. Let's see. You went to Japan and you did a 5-on-5 explosion match. You came over here to the U.S. and did an exploding bat match. Mm-hmm. How did it all get started?
Oh man, the whole concept of it was, I wanted to get to Japan, and I asked a veteran in the business. His name was Steve Monster Mac. I think we were at a Beyond Wrestling show, and I asked Monster Mac, what would I need to do to generate some buzz and interest for myself, for a promoter or somebody to see, to, bring me over into Japan. And, he said, do what Taz used to do and shoot, just start calling people out. And that's exactly what I did. And I figured, all right, if I'm going to do that and I'm going to call out the biggest name that there is in deathmatch wrestling in Japan, one of the founding father of it in Onita. And I called him out at a CZW show and then put some other promos and stuff out. And when I first did it, never did I think that it was going to work. And I just got done a match at VOW, Vicious Outcast Wrestling in West Virginia. I think it was one of the Lord of Anarchy tournaments. And photographer extraordinaire Chris Grasso was in the locker room, had his camera, and I asked him, hey, can you film video as well? And he said, yeah. And the main promo, from what Onita told me, that is what caught his eye and attention, and told me saw the passion and whatever else he saw out of that promo. Was the promo, I'm all bloody and I'm holding the fork, and I think I scream Onita at the end. But that was the initial promo that he saw, that he was like, I have no idea who this kid is from New Jersey calling me out, but I guess there's something about him. And I was DM'd on Twitter, which Onita's wife runs, and then had to make sure it was really, him or her at first. It wasn't just some, fake account. And then exchanged emails. And then once I knew it was real and legit, I then contacted DJ, and the process started. And that process started once in a lifetime was August 5th, 2017. And the process started, I think, back in January or February of that year. So, 6, 7, 8 months it took to, get it all together and happen. And, they made it happen. So, I'll definitely at least, can give DJ that, all I did was call out the guy and, generate some interest. And I was just trying to go to Japan. And then all of a sudden he answers, we're bringing him here. And then Onita brings me to Japan. So, not only did I get Japan and worked him over there, I got him here as well, with help, of course. It wasn't all just me. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I got the good end of the deal. Worked him here, worked him there. Came back again for Cage of Death a couple years ago. We got to work together again. So for all of it to happen and come to fruition, and to be able to work with Onita, the guy we all watched, anybody that's in deathmatch wrestling or a fan of deathmatch wrestling, at one point in time, you pop in a VHS of FMW and then you get hooked. And that's why we love all this crazy stuff. And yeah, still to this day, it's crazy that it all happened. And I was fortunate enough to do the things I was able to do with them. And call him a friend, like somebody that I know that'll, DM on Twitter from time to time, which is, still crazy, and surreal to me to this day. So, but just thankful overall, at the end of the day, I think it's probably the biggest thing that I guess I'll be known for at the end of my career, as far as accolades and matches and stuff. I think a lot of people who didn't know me became aware of me once I worked with Onita, which is very cool. So yeah, crazy and thankful, and he's the man. He was good to me, good to my wife. He bought my wife a whole bunch of presents in Japan and mailed and sent them here, and so it's just crazy. Onita and his wife.
How does English?
Not too bad. The wife's is better, but yeah,
So y'all communicated mainly through the wife?
most of the time, yeah. Online at least, and then but his English ain't bad. I mean, I can understand him, so that's all that matters.
That would work. Let's see. William, he wants to know biggest unexpected headache of running a wrestling promotion.
um, I hate to sound like and say that there is none, but at least for me, you will I get stressed out sometimes? Yes, just because I put a lot of that stress on myself, and I do everything on myself, so I know things get done the right way, and that's really probably about it. I've at least in running H2O never really had any big hiccups or maybe a guy comes late every so often, or hardly have ever had like someone no show or anything like that. And again, I think that just comes down to being one of the boys and being honest with who you're working with and everything like that. We've never really had anything crazy or bad ever happen to the point where that would drive me nuts or give me any kind of stress. So yeah, I couldn't even think of a particular thing that that would, at least here in this H2O bubble, man.
Um, your second trip to Japan with CW.
I didn't hear anything you said, brother.
Let's see. The second trip to Japan, Jisoo, how was that different from the Onita trip?
Oh, probably just it was just myself and DJ the first time I went to Japan with Onita, and we were just there a couple days. We did our two shows. We were in and out. The GCW trip was awesome because there was just a awesome group of dudes going over there. A big part of it was Danny Havoc being able to go back to Japan again, and this time we got to go together. And just the whole cast of characters and crew that we had going over was awesome. Dickinson and Matt Justice, Alex, Oren, Kevin Gill, Lauderdale, everybody, the whole crew. It was just a good group of people, and Schlack, everybody. My second trip will always probably be the most enjoyable just because of the crew we had of that I was able to go over with. And mainly because Danny, because of Grant. It's just a full circle thing. Again, he got, if it wasn't for him, that match at Carnage Cup and him, getting me a job at CZW, becoming friends, and being able to go to Japan with him just kind of made everything full circle. And then tagging with him in Japan, and just walking around the streets of Japan at night, even if it was just down the street to the 7-Eleven, because that's basically all I ate when I was there. It was just crazy. Just a good group of people to go over with. I love that trip, and just if wrestling ended after that trip the next day for me and had to retire as soon as I got home, I would have been cool because I got that last trip in Japan with those guys.
You also got that fucked up arm injury too, right?
Oh yeah.
What went wrong?
Took a power bomb. There we go. You guys are on top of things. That's awesome. Yeah, took the power bomb. That's awesome. Right here. As soon as I take that bump, I'm cut. I just feel a nice warm sensation going down my arm, and knew it was bad, but not. I'm no doctor, but not life threatening. I didn't think. So right here, I'm just telling him, tape. Somebody get me some tape. And I think he went to get it. In my head, I'm like, I just want to wrap this up in finished, and I had a couple more things. Like two Death Valley divers. Jimmy actually does one for me, and I'll get whatever, and then get the second one, get wrapped up. But one of those things, blessing in disguise, as bad as the cut was, as crazy as it could have been, having that Terry Funk moment to get wrapped up, get the crowd get super psyched about it, and to have that moment in Kurgan Hall with Schlack and then Jimmy, it was crazy. So that could have happened 10 times. It could have been even worse. I still would have been smiling like I was. It just made that trip and match even better and even more memorable. I'm not hearing nothing on your end. I can see the question. I can hear you now. Now I can't.
What was your
biggest culture shock? You're going in and out. Biggest culture shock of going to Japan. Coolest thing about Japan. Everybody's so nice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Yeah, okay. Loud and clear.
Sorry, he'll be back. Yep, you can answer that if you want. You were already reading it. Biggest culture shock.
Probably the amount of just different kind of food they have, as far as the that come out of the sea, the sea creatures that they eat over there. Not my cup of tea. Not everything I'll eat it. That's why I just mainly ate at 7-Eleven the whole time, or when we went to Matsunaga's or Ribera to eat some steak. That'd probably be biggest culture shock. Just the amount of different things that they eat. Other than that, just everyone's nice over there. I love the culture overall. Just all aspects of that, in and out of the ring. Everything's just better over there.
Now, did you say you went to the hospital when you got that cut on your arm in Japan on the GCW tour? Like, how was it going to an emergency room in Japan? Was it different for you?
Yeah, they after they wrapped me up, they took me into like the doctor's room at Kurgan Hall. They evaluated and looked at it, and they're like, "Yeah, you gotta get some stitches." So then from there, shortly, I had two of the BJW guys took me to the hospital, and so I had someone to speak for me. There's a very little Japanese that I know, and so they were able to take care of the logistics and all that. And I remember just laying on the table, getting my arm stitched up. There was probably 3 or 4 doctors, nurses, whatever, speaking a different language around me, stitching me up. I have no idea what's going on. But everybody very nice. I was in and out, and by the time I was done, show was over. Met up with Jimmy and Schlack back in the van, and then we drove all the way to the BJW dojo, because we slept there the final night because we were flying out the next day. So, yep, all worked out, nothing bad. Everybody was cool, no issues or anything. Thankfully, those two the guys were there with me, though. Then it probably would have been a much different scene, and probably would have taken forever. But the BJW took great care of me. They took care of any kind of hospital bill or anything like that. I didn't have to worry about anything. So thank you, BJW. They're good people. They took good care of me.
Are you back, Donnie? I see you down there moving now. Is your internet back? Donnie boy.
Yeah, it never went well. Everything's all is just frozen.
Oh, okay. I'll let you get back to this. We're gonna probably wrap it up soon. You've already been on a whole hour and a half. Time flies when you're with the bulldozer. I got a really tough question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
Captain Dave, Tremont's biggest fan?
I would think so, and if I didn't say he was, I would probably hurt his heart. Captain Dave, he has been at shows and watching me since I was before I was even anybody. DWF, Devastation Wrestling Federation, used to run in Pensacola, New Jersey. So Captain Dave has been watching me wrestle for well over probably 10 years or a little bit more. Good dude. I wish there was a 1,000 Captain Daves. Diehard wrestling fan. He's at every show. Good people. Captain Dave's the man.
Okay, Donnie, I'll let you finish up and do what you do. Before I leave, though, you should plug this. It's getting really cold outside, everybody. Soon, at least, it's going to be. I know it's hoodie season, and you got some amazing new hoodies, don't you, Matt? How can the fans get these? Let's show these fucking things. Look at that.
Yeah, new H2O hoodies, exclusively and only available on Shop IWTV. So definitely check them out. Pick them up. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Donnie.
Y'all can still hear me?
All good now. Yeah.
Oh, my shit's all froze up. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
all good.
I want to take the time and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and coming in and doing this for us.
Not a problem, man. I know it's been a while. I know trying to do this for a long time. So perfect night. Wednesday nights, Michael Keener is running class, former ECW referees, one of the trainers here. So I can just sit in the office and get some work done. But so it all worked out. So glad I was finally able to get on here with you guys and chat a little bit. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it too. And I want everybody to check out the last extravaganza. What date is that?
That is the biggest weekend in shows in H2O history. Friday, October 30th, Saturday, October 31st, Mischief Night, and Halloween. It's the last extravaganza inside the H2O Wrestling Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. The two-night tournament to crown the first ever H2O Danny Havoc Hardcore Champion. Night one, I'm retiring, and a whole lot of others. Great, awesome stuff to be announced. So if you're a H2O fan or haven't checked this out yet live in the building, because night one sold out, night two is almost sold out. There's probably less than 30 tickets left for night two. So if you can't get tickets, you'll definitely be able to watch both nights live on IWTV.
Well, Matt, it looks like our host's internet is shit. So I'm going to tell you goodbye, man. Thank you so much. You're a fucking legend. You're one of my favorite deathmatch wrestlers of all time. That's no joke just because you're on.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
You want to say bye, Donnie? Can you hear him? Okay, thank you, Matt. We're gonna. What? Can you hear? Say bye to him. We're gonna leave him.
Yeah. My shit's froze up. I'm sorry.
All good.
I appreciate you doing
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Bulldozer. So we're gonna leave you guys with an epic music video by Tiger Driver, and it's basically fucking Matt Tremont's theme music. Thank you, Matt. Catch you later, man.
Thank you, guys. Take care.